All right, guys. So, hopefully, you guys can't hear my roommate freaking screaming in the background at his Xbox. um, Ethan, if you're listening to this, which I doubt you are, you're a fucking motherfucker, okay? Other than that, so today we're talking about ego, and this is a big thing for, especially for like guys my age. Ego is huge. I think people in general, right? Like, before you even start something, you can have an ego, which is hilarious, right? Like before you even like really start running or anything, or it's just people have this like self image that they don't want to like hurt, even though like chances are like people already know like that you're probably not good at something if you've never done it before. That's why it's such a surprise when people are like naturally good at stuff. But for me, it's like, for jujitsu, like especially when I first started doing jujitsu, the last thing I wanted was like, even though I'd been doing it for a little bit, a month or whatever, like the last thing I wanted to do was like have somebody who never had done it before at all like go against me and just get smashed in front of a bunch of people, and and then people would be like, oh, like you're wasting your time or whatever. Because that is like a reality, but like the truth is like I think the reason the ego is like the most toxic thing is because it really impedes you from progressing. Like if you don't have an ego when you're doing something and you just attack something full speed and you just do it, most of the time it's gonna reward you. You know what I'm saying? Like what I do for jujitsu specifically or grappling is like I try to like tell the guys who beat me all the time, to come roll with me and come spar or whatever with me. And maybe I get smashed, but I'm going against the best guys. And sometimes like it's funny because you can actually fall into an ego trap with people who are less like good at you, or good like the people who are less good at something than you are. So like sometimes I'll fall into an ego trap with guys who I'm better than at like jiu-jitsu, or more experienced than. Because I won't really try things because I know like I feel like I'm expected to win, so like I should tap him like 7 times or whatever in 5 minutes, and that's how it should be every single time. When or maybe like since I'm trying to protect that ego, maybe I like make excuses, or I don't really try to kind of have that built-in excuse. And I think that's just kind of toxic, right? Like I fucking hate that. Like if you're taking the same thing happens to me with like doing like physical fitness tests. Like I'll always be like, oh, I was drinking the night before, like, oh, I'm just feeling sick, and I still like even if I do good, like I used to like for the APFT, I used to max like the push-ups and the sit-ups. I used to get like 74 push-ups and like whatever 80 sit-ups in 2 minutes, and like I'd still like, even though I did good, I'd still make the excuse and be like, "Oh yeah, I was drinking the night before, whatever. Like I feel I didn't sleep or whatever." It's just like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like nobody cares. Like I just, sometimes like I even catch myself. I'm like, can you just shut up? And I feel like there's definitely a lot of guys in the same boat who are just like driven by this ego and held back by this ego. Because there's things that like a lot of us are interested in, but like we don't want to get into because we realize like in order to start, we have to begin at that like white belt or like zero level. We have to enter the game first, and the start is it's kind of shitty, like it's like you get kind of humbled, and for me like that's hard. It's hard to like just go into something and be the beginner at something. But yeah, like I think ego is something that's prevalent, and really just like I think it's just toxic because a lot of the time I think it can affect your relationship with your friends too. It's like, you can, if you go into something as like, hey, we're all just trying to make each other better, and, it doesn't matter who's stronger or who faster or who submits who or who pins who, like, that doesn't fucking matter. Like, it's all just a game. And most of the time, it's not life or death. And if you're training for something that's like a life or death scenario, that's a little bit different. But like at the end of the day, like you shouldn't be losing friends or being friends with people based on how they do at something. It should be like the content of their character, right? But there's those toxic people who fucking like go out there as like, oh well, this person didn't have the GPA that I have, or the blah blah, like, and it's true, like who you hang out with says a lot about you. But I don't know, if you're driven by people who like are only results based and only, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time people who do that lack empathy, and maybe you. I feel like an ego is exactly that, is like you just lack empathy for yourself and for other people. Um, because I've had guys, and I've gone against guys in jujitsu who literally never trained before, but they're like 6'5" and like 225, and they're freaking like got six packs, and don't work out or whatever, and they're just fucking fantastic. And that's just a fucking reality. Like there are people like that, and they're strong and they're fast and they're big and blah blah, blah, and they don't really work hard. But the truth is like if you keep working hard at something, the only way you're ever gonna beat those people is by just working. And like you gotta take your lumps, and maybe you don't beat that guy right now, but you beat a guy just like him in 6 months or a year or a year and a half. And I've seen that, and that happens to me all the time. I mean, like, you could be working out, and you could be a guy who's been working out for a while, and maybe you're strict with your diet, and you see some guy eating fucking McDonald's, fucking just all this crap, and he's got a six pack, and he's fucking running this or running that, or lifting that. And it's just like, fuck it, like you can make all the excuses and the ego things, like, oh, like he's naturally like that, whatever. But at the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck. Really, like I've had times like, like at the, where I've, tapped certain guys who are a little bit at a more experienced level, and nobody at the gym fucking cared. Like that's just the truth. And I've been tapped a million times by guys who were fucking worse than me, and or like more, less experienced or whatever. And I cared, but nobody really else did. So it's just like you gotta have that positive mindset, and an ego is gonna kill you, and comparison is the death of joy. Like it's just like I think when I do jujitsu or when I work out, that's kind of my form of like meditation, or where I can just kind of blank out and like listen to music and not really think about anything else. And if you've ever like done that, or you have something like that, you know how like almost sacred that is to you, and how much that like is like you love that. And everybody needs something like that. So don't let fucking the like your fucking view of yourself or whatever like impede you from getting something like that. And yeah, that's kind of what I got for today, guys. Try not to let that ego or will to win drive you insane, or drive you to the point of a toxic level. Okay, so that's all I got. Yeah, subscribe, follow, like if you freaking watched the video. You guys are fucking real ones. But yeah, I'll see y'all later.